This Trump. I don't know how to reverse this writing, but that was my Donald Trump beanie, or whatever you call it. I also have another hat like that with Donald Trump badges and that sort of thing. I'll get back to that in a moment, but I was thinking about the For Britain Party and the fact that it's closed down. And one of the reasons it closed down is it has no popular support. None. Now, one of the reasons it has no popular support is that, let's say you have a local branch, they want to hand out leaflets outside their local supermarket and talk and engage with people. That's not possible because the mobs of Antifa and Stand Up to Racism, they will turn up shouting fascist scum, intimidating people, and no normal member of the public wants to stand there and chat with this going on. So one of the reasons why For Britain has closed, and I'll make a video about this in about a week's time, but one reason is just intimidation. And it got me thinking about this whole issue of intimidation. Now, you saw my Donald Trump hat, and I have my Donald Trump badges that I put in my hat. Now, the reason I wear these badges is quite simple. It's not a fashion thing. I don't particularly like those beanie hats, and I'm not a badge person. I wear these badges for one reason only, and one reason only. It's my way of saying, you might believe the National Party, you might believe the For Britain Party, you might bully hundreds of people out there in a demonstration, but you won't do it to me. You know, you try and bully me, I'll bully you. Now, by the way, I'm not a tough person. I'm the exact opposite. I'm very weak. I mean, I'm a small person, quite thin and all of that. And I'm not naturally brave. I get frightened very easy, really easy. I'm a wimp. If they gave medals for weakness and easily frightened people, I'd get one of those. Having said all that, I don't like bullies. Never have. And there are times in life you need a bully, you have to run. There are extreme cases like that, but 99% of the time I have no intentions of running. And when it comes to political bullying, when it comes to these, like in Britain with Anne-Marie, it was Stand Up to Racism and Hope Not Hate. When it comes to these fascists, and they are fascists, organised groups bullying you, that's real bullying, and I don't like that. Anyhow, just to get to the point. Now, oh yes, when I go around with my badges, now I'm a totally insignificant person. You pass me in the street, I'm an old nobody. And I look like a nobody. So people don't notice me, generally. But people do notice the badges. You buy yourself a Donald Trump hat tomorrow, put it on, people will notice. People just passing in the street will notice. More particularly if you're in a shop, if you're in a bookshop, somewhere you're browsing, people will notice. But here's the thing, nobody will say anything. And there's thousands of people out there who, at the drop of a hat, like to insult, let's say, Trump supporters, and who are quite happy to do it. But if you're wearing a Trump hat or something like that, they won't do it. And the reason they won't do it is that if you meet someone tomorrow wearing a Donald Trump hat, it's quite possible that they're just some guy who had a hat that happened to be Donald Trump and they put it on their head without thinking. That's possible. But of course it's also possible and very probable that the reason that person is wearing that hat is because they're making a point. You know, they're making a statement, a very public statement. You know, you want to bully me? Go ahead. Anyhow, that's wandering off the point. But this is it. There is one thing in this whole political world I don't understand. Now, there are some things we understand well, other things we understand less well, etc., etc. But there is one thing I genuinely don't understand. And I've been thinking about this well over 10 years. All throughout the rise of this woke nightmare. I do not understand why people tolerate this bullying. You know, I've seen it here in Ireland. You hold a free speech march, gangs of bullies turn up, and nobody does anything. Nobody. Now, if you're being bullied and you take it and you do nothing, the bullying will continue. It'll probably get worse. And I don't understand, I'm repeating myself, but I don't understand why people tolerate this bullying. Let me put it this way, and let me stress, I'm not a tough person, I'm the exact polar opposite, and I'm certainly not brave. But if I was a bit younger and I was in a position to organise demonstrations and all that, if I was organising a protest tomorrow, the very first thing I would do is, well, I'd announce it very publicly. And then I'd get someone who understands Facebook and all that better than I would. I would get someone to check Facebook and to find out who is organising a protest against me. Because all of these things are organised online. You know, all of these groups. And all of these groups have leaders. Even Antifa, which is sort of an anarchist type movement. All of these groups have leaders. There are always ringleaders. There's always people at the very top of this, organising this agitation and all of that. If I was holding a demonstration like that, I'd make it a business to find out. I'd get someone who understands Facebook and all that better than me, to find out who is organising the thuggery and the bullying. And then I'd contact that person directly, and I'd say to them, you bully me, you know, you try and bully and disrupt my demonstration, I'll do the same to you, but I'll be much more nasty, and I won't stop. Now, as I say, I'm not a brave person. Quite the opposite. But, well, for instance, with my videos, I don't hide my address. Now, I don't advertise where I live. I don't deliberately make videos outside my front door that just out of bloody mindedness. But I make the sort of videos I want to make, and I don't hide my address. I don't hide who I am. I never have. And there is nothing I've ever said online that I wouldn't say to a person's face. Nothing. But, so I'm not hiding or anything like that. But, and I still say what I want to say. You know, well, what was I saying? Yes. Yeah, if you're going to hold a meeting and you know that thugs are going to organise to disrupt and bully, you know, you can't fight all of these bullies, but you can fight the person who's running the show. Now in Ireland we've got an organisation, People Before Profit. And one of the members of that, and I think he's a member of Parliament, I think he's sitting in the Dáil, is, oh God, his name, Richard Boyd Barrett. Now this is a man who has openly arranged intimidation and that online. This is a man who's gone out publicly and said fascists should be attacked in public. It's all right to punch a fascist. And of course, a fascist is anyone he disagrees with. But this is a man who's openly, visibly incited intimidation, bullying and violence against, let's say, conservatives and nationalists. And nobody does something. Excuse me a minute. Yeah, this is a very bad video. Really messy and worse than usual, but I'm getting to the point. Nobody ever does anything about these bullies. Nobody. And I don't understand this. And if you let people bully you, they will bully you. I don't understand. I mean, I look at what's happening here in Ireland. Now, it's been politically quiet here in Ireland since when it comes to protests and street activity. Apart from COVID, everything else is sort of shut down, but we will have hate speech laws very soon, so I'm anticipating there will be probably demonstrations in relation to that. But I don't understand, and I'm repeating myself, but I'm sort of at a loss of words here. I have a difficulty expressing myself. I don't understand. It's almost like a physical thing. My brain just can't grasp why it is that nobody stands up to these people. Now, as I say, I'm not tough, I'm not brave, quite the opposite. But I will say what I want to say and nobody will stop me. Well, they'll have to kill me or knock me unconscious or something. But nobody's going to. And I don't say that because I'm brave. I say that in actual fact for the exact opposite reason. I frighten very easy. You know, I'm genuinely not a tough guy. I really do frighten easy. And I don't like that feeling of being frightened, and I don't like bullies. Now, I'm very frightened of lots of things, but my hatred of bullies exceeds any fear I might have. I despise these people. And so here you've got a situation, say here in Ireland, you've got all of these, let's say, conservative groups groups, and I don't know, YouTubers and nationalists and all of the diaspora of people who are not woke, let's say. All of these people, in one form or another, get targeted, bullied, intimidated, and they do nothing about it. Nothing. Now I don't get targeted at this moment in time because my YouTube channel is really small. It's only a small number of people watch it. I'm not that important. But if suddenly there's a surge in my viewers and I ended up with a few thousand viewers, then, well, common sense would tell me my head is coming above the radar and maybe I'm going to be targeted here. At that point, I would make a video for all potential bullies, telling them, like, you bully me, that's fine, but it won't be like, you know, you bully the National Party, you bully this person, that person, that's fine, they'll let you away with it. I won't. You know, you bully me, I'm not a Christian. I won't turn the other cheek. And I have zero morals. Zero. Zero. Excuse me, I can't get. But, and I'll say I don't hide where I live, for instance. And some lunatic could come up to my door tomorrow and smash it in, and I don't know. That's possible. But how can I put it? I take these risks because I'm sending a message to people. You know, I'm not hiding. Anything I say here, I'll say to your face. And I mean everything what I say. And if you bully me, well, it's very easy to frighten me. I frighten very easy. But I also get angry very easy when it comes to bullying. I really don't. I've stopped talking about that because it gets me upset. But anyhow, to get back to the point, I don't understand why people tolerate this. You know, you can't solve the problems of the world. You can't fight the system. But you can fight the person in front of you. You can't fight 1,000 people, but you can fight one person. And if that person can bully, you can bully. You can give them a taste of their own medicine. But nobody is doing that. Nobody. You know, there are people here in Ireland who are quite literally fascists, scum, animals, bullies and thugs, related to the NGO system and all that. And they bully, intimidate and slander, and nobody does anything. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. Now, I can understand that people are frightened, because I'm very easily frightened myself. I understand that people may be intimidated. I understand that people might not want trouble. I understand all that. But that's the whole point of bullies. Bullies feed on that. That's why bullies do what they do. And the only way to stand up to the bullies is literally to stand up to them. But yeah, I'm repeating myself over and over and over, but I don't understand. And I look at all these people, I see people out there, let's say conservative nationalists, guys who are, let's say, physically quite tough often. They're much bigger and more imposing than I am. They're much more physically active than I am. They're better able to cope with all of these things than I could ever be. And they're doing nothing. You know, I don't understand. You know, if you have children, if somebody walked up to your child in the street and started poisoning their mind, you'd stop it. You'd step in. But you send your children up to the local school and they start pumping all this LGBT propaganda and nobody does anything. I'm mentioning LGBT propaganda. This morning I was watching a video, Gripped Media, and what's the guy's name? Ben Scallon or something like that. He had a report on, right now at this moment, the Irish Teachers Organisation and the primary school system and all that. Right now they're rolling out this trans agenda. And I'll leave a link below to this video. It's worth watching, just to show you how bad things are in Ireland. But they're rolling out this trans agenda thing, and there's no pretense anymore. There's no, let's say, civilized veneer put on this. This is blatant. This is in your face. The LGBT movement now is dictating the education system in our schools. And I say there's no pretense, there's no effort to pretend that maybe that's not happening. It's in your face, it's blatant. And of course this is how fascists behave. At a certain point, the gloves comes off, the mask drops, and they stop pretending. And we're reaching that stage in Ireland now, and The people who are pushing this trans agenda, the politicians, the actual politicians, the same politicians, right now, today, tomorrow, they're readying hate speech laws for, they're on the verge of basically publishing those or putting those laws before the Dáil. And when that happens, it's all over. People often, and I've mentioned this before, people often talk about the red line. At what point have things gone too far? Well, hate speech laws, that's it. If you wake up someday in your society and you have hate speech laws, you're no longer in a democratic society. And with this woke thing, it means you're in a fascist society. This whole woke thing now is fascist. There's no question. There's no other word for it. Fascism is being imposed on our society. It's happening really fast. The mask, as I say, is now dropping. They're getting hard-necked, blatant about this. It's speeding up. It's happening really, really fast. And it's not a matter of saying, well, in 10 years' time it'll be too late, in 5 years' time, in 3 years' time. We're talking months here. At the rate things are moving here in Ireland, in another 6 months' time, Ireland will be, by any objective standard, a totalitarian state. We're literally seeing fascism take over our society. There's no other word for it. And nobody is doing anything. No one. There's no organisation in Ireland standing up to this. There are no individuals standing up to this. And let me just finish on one note here. Let me finish on one important note here. Have you been watching Jordan Peterson lately? Have you been watching Douglas Murray lately? Or indeed, have you been watching History Debunked recently? Well, if you have, you might have noticed, I've certainly noticed, that something has changed with Peterson and with Murray. And what has changed is the penny has started to drop. Both Murray and Jordan Peterson, they've looked at this thing that's happening in politics, and they've seen this woke thing, if you like, as normal politics, but everything's gone really bad. Now, of course, this woke thing is something totally different. It's fascism. If you watch Jordan Peterson's last few videos over the last few months, and if you listen to Douglas Murray's interviews over the last few months, it's becoming clear to me that these people realise that, number one, this is actual fascism. This is a fascist takeover. And that we're in the final stages, and that it's speeding up. And if we don't stop it, and stop it soon, then it will be like Hitler's Germany, except the Nazis will have won. Now, Jordan Peterson would never say this. Douglas Murray would never say this. But the tone of what they're saying has changed in the last few months. They're getting more direct. They're getting a little less diplomatic. For a long time, these people, they would say so much and then they would stop. Now they're beginning to push a little bit forward in what they're saying. And Jordan Peterson, he's made quite a few videos in which he's looked at the camera and said, you know, this has to be stopped. You have to stop this. So when I talk of this as a fascism and a fascist takeover, now I'm saying this, but I don't matter. What I say doesn't matter, but what Jordan Peterson says matters, and what Douglas Murray says matters, and what History Today, or History Debunked, I should say, what he says matters. If you've been watching History Debunked, now I've been watching that for a couple of years, and in literally the last 2 or 3 months, there has been a change there. He's becoming more direct. He's speaking more directly of the destruction of England, of the disappearance of England. He's making more videos pointing out that this is not a mistake. This is not political corruption. This is not bad times. This is something distinct and different. He doesn't use the word fascism, but that's really what he's talking about. This is a takeover of Britain and Ireland and all our societies. So, as things get worse and worse, and they are getting worse and worse, and as things are becoming so more blatantly fascistic, you know, I've reached a stage where I've said quite publicly, and I'll say it now, as far as I'm concerned, every single politician in Ireland should be judicially hanged. I'm not suggesting people go out in the street and start hanging people from lampposts, but I am saying if this whole woke thing were to collapse tomorrow, I'm saying emphatically, we can't just move on. You can't just pretend, well, that was a bad pact, that was a mistake. These people imposing this woke fascism on us, these people deserve the death penalty. Their crimes are such. These people are prepared to sacrifice every human being in this Western world of ours. They're prepared to destroy every person and the entire fabric of society. As far as they are concerned, hundreds of human generations into the future can live in a fascist dictatorship, and they don't care. And so I believe, truly believe, that there can be no forgiveness for the crimes of these people. And their crimes are so horrific that the only reasonable penalty is the death penalty. At the end of World War II, a lot of people were hung in Germany. And that was unnecessary. It wasn't a matter of revenge. And in fact, a lot of people who should have been hung walked away. But the ritual was necessary. In the same way, the ritual of the Mass is necessary at some level. You know, you can't do that to a society. You can't go out and destroy everything and then just shrug your shoulders at the end of it. Or you can't just pretend it didn't happen. If this woke thing is defeated, and it doesn't look as if it will be, but if it is, if by some miracle this woke thing collapses, the people behind this, our political class in particular, and our media, they will have to be brought before a court, found guilty, and hanged. Nothing else is acceptable, nothing less than that. So, well, this is a very, I know, this is probably maybe my worst video. I start off talking one thing and end up talking about the other, but they are all related. But at a certain level, you know what they say, all politics is local. There's a great truth of that. And all people are ultimately people. You know, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, it doesn't matter how big you are. At the end of the day, we're all just individuals. And so I don't understand why it is that some individuals can quite openly intimidate, bully, and organise intimidation and bullying, and nobody does anything. Nobody. I look around in Ireland, I see this sort of thing going on all the time, and it's as if nobody cares. You know, it's as if people have just decided, well, anyone can bully me anytime they like. And I just don't understand. I don't get it. Anyhow, I believe, don't know if I said this, I will leave a link to the Ben Scanlon or Scallon video, the Grip video, about transgenderism in the schools. I will leave that link below. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's quite a short video. I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 9 minutes, something like that. But it's very good. And if you're not Irish and you want to get a glimpse into what is happening in Ireland, this thing about what's going on in the schools, this will give you a good idea.